Okay, we're going to go to Jennifer Mayerle right now because she knows a little bit more about that truck incident. Jennifer?
Yeah, we've been tracking more information, and we just learned the name of the person arrested for that incident. It is Bogdan Vechirko. This is his mugshot. This is the truck driver, the semi-truck driver that was arrested for driving down 35W with the thousands of protesters on there. This booking photo just coming in to the Hennepin County Jail. We do know that, he had some injuries where he went to the hospital, and you're maybe potentially seeing that in his mugshot on his face right there. This is another look at when that happened, that truck looking fast, going down 35W, where people are just darting to the side, getting away as fast as they can, then going in on that truck, trying to get him to stop. That truck stops, and in a moment, it moves forward again. It stopped. People are jumping on the side of the truck, trying to get the door open to get the driver to stop. People telling many of our crews across Minneapolis that they were terrified. It was just terrible.
Jen, are you there? I think we lost.
Incredible to see. I mean, you can't. I mean, look at this as the truck goes down. That again is Bogdan Vechirko. I can tell you that he is 35 years old. The booking, he was booked in on assault inside the Hennepin County Jail. And we do have a statement from the trucking company that we are told he was an independent contractor for. The trucking company says, "Our hearts go out to all those who are grieving the events of this past week. We've been informed of an incident involving one of our independent contractors in Minneapolis during recent protests. Our first and foremost concern is for the safety and security of the public, our employees, and our customers." And again, I'm reading the statement from the trucking company as you are watching video on your screen of just how that unfolded earlier today. It goes on to say, "We will be cooperating fully with the investigating authorities in the days ahead. It would be inappropriate to comment at this time until we have additional facts as the investigation is early in its stages. We will comment further once we have more information." But again, Bogdan Vechirko, 35 years old, booked in at the Hennepin County Jail on assault charges. And I can tell you he does have a Minnesota address, at least on his booking information. So still working to learn more about how this happened, how he was able to drive on 35W with those thousands of protesters there. This was after 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is when the roads were shut down tonight. So this is the very latest information into our newsroom. And of course, we are still trying to compile more information. Been in touch with them, and we are continuing to gather more information, Frank and Amelia.
No, go ahead. I had lost some of your audio.
Yeah,
Jen,
we did too.
sorry.
So sorry about that, Jen. Yeah, no, a number of things come to mind. So one of them was, so he does have a Minnesota address. They think
Yes.
he's local. Okay.
Well, as far as the booking information goes, it is a Minnesota address.
Because he's an independent contractor from that press release.
Yes, and the trucking company is based out of Ohio.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned they're trying to figure out how he got onto the highway.
Right.
How do they know that he wasn't on the highway already when they closed it?
We're getting some conflicting information from officials. Some say that he was already on the highway at another point, but then another official saying that the blockages, though, at certain points were marked, that there was no problem with resources getting things blocked off by 5 o'clock, because it was just 15 to 20 minutes before 5 that we learned that the time that the interstates were going to be blocked had moved to 5 o'clock versus
Right.
8 o'clock. But they said resources were in place, and these places were marked where 4 different interstates being blocked off at 5 o'clock today, saying that was in place. Again, this is all information that is still fluid, that is still developing, and we are waiting to get more information about, was that actually blocked? Where was this driver when things started becoming blocked? Was there a path forward? Why was he going so fast? Why, once it stopped, did he continue to go? So many questions still here tonight, but the one answer that we do have is who that driver is. Again, a Bogdan Vechirko, 35 years old, booked into the Hennepin County Jail on suspicion of assault. and the company that he works for giving a brief statement tonight, just saying that the first and foremost concern is for the safety and security of the public, our employees, and our customers, and they are waiting before they give more information until they learn more, along with the rest of us.
So I drove today a little bit and saw how the highways were blocked and a couple of ramps from 62 to get on a couple different interstates that were closed. There are enormous pieces of MnDOT equipment there.
Sure.
And I just
Blocking
can't imagine
the
that a MnDOT worker wouldn't get on the radio and say, hey, an enormous 18-wheeler with a tanker just went around, even if they could. That's why I'm just, not that I question, it's just so odd that, especially considering the timing of it, that this person would be able to evade one of these on-off ramps and get this big truck onto that road.
Yeah, we just don't know how that happened.
No?
Right, and to be at that speed still, and with the people on there, you know, we know that they blocked off the interstates early simply to give the people that you're seeing in the video right now a chance to protest, a chance to be there, a chance to lift their voice on the interstate as they want. But as you see, that was interrupted by that truck coming down I-35. As you can see, this is just, people are scrambling.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, someone's running obviously with their cell phone up. This person was, I believe, Facebook Live at the time, and is capturing it. He was farther behind, then moved up close to get this close-up shot, as you were just seeing, as someone pounding on the glass of that truck to try to get him to stop. And actually, in this audio, you could hear him say, "Don't hurt him." I don't think he knew what he was doing. Clearly, no one knows the intent at this point. Anything that we say would just be speculation, and so we don't know the intent. But what we can see is what happened in the aftermath, and this person is walking
I had
up
heard some protesters earlier talking, saying they heard him honking the horn. So I don't know what that meant.
And you come around a bit of a curve. Anyone that's driven northbound on that knows you come around a bit of a curve and then you kind of hit the bridge. I thought that was so interesting, Jen, those two pieces of audio, and we'll try to play those for people, as that was, I heard the guy clearly say he didn't know, he didn't know, and then I heard another voice, I don't know if it's the same voice, saying, "Don't hurt him, that's not who we are, that's not what this is about." Which I thought was really interesting, because in that moment, if you're thinking someone's trying to run you down, I think the thing is you want to defend yourself to some degree. And we'll play this and we'll shut up and we'll let people hear it and let it breathe.
Yeah, you just heard that there.
It defeats our purpose. Stop! Stop!
Okay, so
we'll run it back here in a couple minutes, and we can let it run full, and we'll make sure we be quiet because some of the Facebook Live audio breaks up. But I think it's important for people to hear that, because it gives you such an up-close perspective, and people can start making some of their own conclusions from it. But the biggest question I have for you, Jen, because I know some of these things we just don't know about. I'm just raising them as questions that need to be asked. But I saw that some media outlets are saying that state officials say he might not have realized the highway had been closed. Have you been able to get any confirmation on that?
You know, I just talked to the Department of Public Safety. That's one of the investigating agencies on this, who just said right now that is not what they are putting out there. Earlier in a press conference with the governor, with other state officials, it was said that this will be investigated as a criminal matter. And again, obviously he's been arrested and looking at assault. But right now we're not hearing anything from any specific state official that is being reported that's saying that he might not have known what he was doing. Of course, that's something that they'd be looking into, as you would with any investigation.
And I'm just trying to ask enough questions, because your immediate thought is, oh my God, this guy barreled into a peaceful crowd of 6,000 people, horrifying, worst thing ever, wrecked a beautiful day of protest. But I'm just not sure what they're looking at.
Well, I don't know if we talked about this, but the Department of Public Safety earlier had said, Commissioner Harrington said, from the footage that they were seeing on MnDOT cameras, it appeared the semi was on 35W as authorities were closing the road. So it didn't appear that he drove through any barricades.
Right, so it had already been on there, and so that's what's
so they closed the road and he was already on it, and they didn't know he was on it?
I'm just saying this is what Commissioner Harrington said. He said, according to the footage that they saw on the MnDOT cameras, it appears the semi was on 35W as the authorities were closing down the road. So it does not appear at this point that the truck driver drove through any barricades.
Did that just come out from?
No,
that was in the press conference earlier, Frank, but it was hard to interpret or hear at that point on what point that person was on the road, whether
Right.
it was after a barricade or whatnot, or if there would have been a barricade in their way after being on the interstate. But the way Amelia's reading it now, it does sound like this person may have already been on there.
Right,
as it drove into this area.
And you know, that would be odd in itself. It would be odd that MnDOT wouldn't know that a lone truck was out there, because they have cameras, you know, everywhere, especially in the metro area if he's on 35. So why wouldn't they say, oh my goodness, we closed it and there's someone already on it. By the way, he's heading towards 6,000 people.
We know resources are thin. They're stretched thin at this point. We also know that this was moving fast. So potentially that happened.
It was supposed to be 8 o'clock and then they moved it to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and potentially they may not have been able to see that or get to it in time, even if they did see it. So many unknowns at this point, but definitely know that this was a very fast-moving, fluid situation, even as they closed those interstates, moving it up to 5 o'clock, only putting the information out on Twitter, I think 15 to 20 minutes before that. That's when we finally saw it and alerted people.
Right. Well, we were confused of whatever was going to happen
at
5 or 8 ourselves.